Hi guys! Before I start my speech, I would like to ask every teenager here a question. Does being a teenager feel like having a full-time job? I mean, you're expected to maintain good grades, have like 10 different hobbies and 3 leadership positions, all while maintaining a 30-year life plan. Meanwhile, I couldn't even decide what my favorite subject was. If that sounds familiar, you are not alone. Through this story, I want to explore why we feel that way, what might psychology reveal about it, and how do we redefine this mindset. So the first question is, why do teenagers, me and all of you, feel such a pressure and a drive to compare yourself to others, as well as strive for such exceptionality? I mean, people have an innate drive to want to evaluate themselves in comparisons to others. From a psychological viewpoint, we do this by establishing a benchmark to then make reflection. This supposedly natural process has, however, worsened over time, has turned into a knife that points at our mental health. Social media also play a role in damaging your self-esteem through those harmless TikToks or Instagram reels. But since we scroll for hours on our phones, seeing influencers, peers, even children who have figured their life out. But of course, it's not just social media. Many of us grew up in cultures where being average is failing. The tiger parenting culture in Asia places an extra high standards on extracurricular and academic activities. I think everyone can relate to this, even old or young. You went home and you were being compared to those perfect kids who live near you. I mean, maybe in the exact moment, your parents want to see you thrive like others, to not fall behind in society. But simple phrases like that carve deep marks into your self-worth. What else? Current school system also worsen this pressure to be special, to stand out, and to be perfect. Standardized testing, competitive university admissions have turned learning into a game with winners, losers, taking the spark away from this beautiful process. And of course, it's never that simple. It's not just about being good. It's about not being certain. How many of you here have felt their heart pounding so fast they can barely even breathe while waiting for their final score exam? Raise your hand. Okay, I think I see lots of hand raised. Well, there's obvious fear of not doing well. Don't you notice how your heartbeat still slowed down after receiving a score you weren't exactly hoping for? That is the impact of an innate fear of uncertainty. Psychologists call this intolerance of uncertainty, which describe a phenomenon where humans fear ambiguous situations and find it hard to cope with unpredictability, which is exactly why you stress so much when your score is yet to be revealed. According to Erickson stages of development, however, adolescence is a crucial period for individuals to develop their sense of self. So teenagers like me will constantly face challenges regarding their roles and identity formations. But aside from that, what else? We have figured out the cause and noticed that it is okay to feel lost, to change, and to question right now. Because that is the time for you to do so. So if you are confused right now, congrats! You're doing exactly what you're meant to be doing. However, confusion doesn't even stop there. It will transform into questions to teach you more about yourself. And once you have figured out those answers, it will travel alongside you into future prospects. But that's the psychology and the cause behind it. What is the impact when the pressure to be good and certain becomes too much? A significant but often overlooked impact is on mental health. Academic pressure is linked to a high level of anxiety, stress, imposter syndrome, and perfectionism. Surprisingly, to all the teenagers or the parents here, this pressure is not only experienced by older high schoolers, also as young as middle schooler, elementary students who might be worrying for their futures. The fear of not knowing The fear of failure paralyzes and stops you from making any progress. I might seem like someone who have found their passion and is standing on stage here, confidently sharing the idea, but the truth is, I used to be so terrified of choosing the wrong path. I thought that going through endless lectures and endless research, something that seemed right would magically appear right in front of my eyes. Being terrified of not knowing stopped me from even actually trying at all. People often glorify this process as something self-discovery, something so great, but they rarely talk about the quiet fear it leaves, that if you don't get it right the first time, you are already behind. Then there's identity. Students like myself feel pressure to pick a major or just to make choices early on. We internalize this idea that that is what is common, is good, that's smart to do, without fully having the chance to explore other options. Fast decisions regarding your majors and goals could, however, lead to ultimate regret down the line when your interests shift. You must be thinking, oh, I've heard this story before. And of course, it has been normalized in Asian culture for years to pick something early on, but then getting burnt out and not trying. There is a psychological term for this though, foreclosed identity, which describes a state where individual has already committed to a set of goals, values, or beliefs without fully exploring the alternative choices. People plan into the future with the expectation that the version of themselves right now will stay the same. And that is why certainty is so important. But ask yourself, do you still want what you wanted when you were like 5? I mean, I dreamt of being a princess once, and I don't think that plan worked out. Why would we treat certainty as a measure of success? Why would we let this crippling fear affect us so deeply when change is inevitable? Now, then we'll see how deeply the stressful and this idea do affect us at the end of the day. How do we reform this mindset? Personally, for me, having some sort of ideas or plans about the future make the pressure seem more bearable. Then you will be still thinking, oh, still, how do you figure things out? The first step is just to find your traits. Reflect on what energizes versus what drains you. How do you respond under stress? Do you help lead, analyze, or comfort? Is there any particular issue you're interested in, like art, human behavior? All of this can be helpful to note down. But just find your traits. You don't need to have a career label, be 100% certain or exceptional at your chosen sector yet. Just pieces of self-knowledge that can develop over time. When things is very stressful, take slow, deep breath to ground yourself in the present. And if you can't notice, I'm pretty stressed right now, so let's try an activity. On the count of 3, breathe in. 1, 2, 3. And then breathe out. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I really needed that. If things is, again, too confusing, do things that include the release of endorphin, like going for a walk, listen to music, or simply doing what you love. And that should not include doom scrolling. Practicing a growth mindset is also a crucial step. This might sound like generic phrases that has been repeated thousands of times by teachers. But if you can truly implement the thoughts, then any change of heart, any failure and attempt only adds to the understanding of yourself. The pressure will immediately lighten. One of my favorite activities is journaling. Not gossiping in your diary, but tracking your evolving interests and reactions. Over time, those random scribbles will form a pattern, which is the map of who you are becoming. Most importantly though, do be kind to yourself while figuring things out. It might seem like the whole world is balancing on your shoulders, or that everyone is moving at a constant speed, but I assure you, we're all stuck fighting our own battles. You don't need to be everything right now. You're enough, and you're trying, which is what is good. So, at the end of the day, all of those pressure you're feeling, all the stressfulness of not being good enough, not being certain, is not weird or out of context. It's been built through psychological lens and phenomenon. So it is normal to feel the way you are feeling. By understanding how and why you're feeling that certain way will only help yourself to make the pressure feel better. So, what if this pressure is just imaginary? The pressure to be exceptional and good too early does nothing but drown out your true potential. And growth only starts when you allow yourself to start imperfectly, to make mistakes and explore life. Thank you.